So we finally have some news about the new Game of Thrones spin-off, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We've been waiting ages for any info, any crumb, any morsel, any tidbit. Now, this show was meant to air in 2025, but it's not. It's going to be in early 2026. They're saying January, but we don't have a specific date as of yet. When we do, I'll let you know. I'm going to run through this article, which was an exclusive with Entertainment Weekly with the showrunner Ira Parker. And he gave us his thoughts and his ideas behind what he was thinking when he was putting the show together. The first thing we learn is that there's not going to be a opening title sequence like we saw on Game of Thrones, like we have on House of the Dragon. It's setting the audience up to know that this is a little bit different than the Westerosi stories you're used to. All decisions came down to Dunk trying to channel the type of person he is into every aspect of the show, even the title sequence. And this is what Ira Parker is saying. And he says, the title sequence on the original Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, are big, epic, and incredible. Ramin Djawadi's score is orchestral and large and beautiful. That's not really Dunk's MO. He's plain and he's simple and he's to the point. He doesn't have a lot of flash to him. Dunk is going to be played by Peter Claffey, and he is described as a character who is a hedge knight, a wandering defender of the realm, unbound to any specific lord or house. But that changes when his master, Sir Arlen of Pennytree, dies, and this is at the very beginning of the story, and Dunk knights himself Sir Duncan the Tall and goes off to compete in the tourney at Ashford Meadow to earn some coin, setting in motion certain events that will have ripple effects for the larger world. Now, I'm not going to give away any spoilers in this video, and the article does not give away any spoilers either, but it does say this, that it's no spoiler that the House of the Dragon Targaryen civil war leads to the decimation of that empire and the eventual extinction of dragonkind, and that when we join the story, it's only 50 years after the death of the last dragon, which was really no bigger than a cat. So when we join the story, the Targaryens don't have any dragons. There are no dragons left in this world. And the Targaryens who are there, they're hoping that one day that will change. I found this really interesting. Ira Parker says, nobody's thinking about magic. This could basically be 14th century Britain. This is hard-nosed, grinded out, gritty, medieval knights, cold with a really light, hopeful touch. It's a wonderful place to be. We are ground up in this series. We are starting right at the bottom. We are not with the lords and ladies, the kings and queens. This is the first time we're going to see Westeros from the perspective of a regular small folk person, because Dunk comes from nothing. He may be Sir Duncan the Tall, but he's an orphan from Flea Bottom. He comes from literally nothing. We are promised that viewers will always stick with characters like Dunk, Egg, and this lower rim of Westeros society. The armourers, the performers, the barmaids, the whores, and the like. Very different from what we're used to, which is very rich, privileged, posh families, like the high society. It's a totally different view of a world that we know of. We know Westeros, but we're seeing it from a different perspective, through different eyes, for the first time, really. Ira Parker says to find a totally different version of this world that everybody seems to know so well was very, very appealing. The fact that we live in this world, though, where magic once existed is very interesting to me. This is the ground and the grass that has seen dragons and dragonfire before. So everything is just like how the world is, but a little stranger, a little different. It said that Ira Parker forged a personal connection to Dunk, saying, you don't know exactly the final destination, but you just keep at it. That's all Dunk has. That's his only superpower. He gets up and one foot in front of the other, he keeps going. And I've said before, this story, it's not a grand story the way that Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon is. It's not big in terms of scale. It's more of a human story. It might make it the most relatable thing that George R.R. Martin has written, because it's actually from the perspective of regular people, like people like us. We just have to keep on going. We just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. That's life. And I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to Dunk because of this. But let's not forget, you do have the high and mighty Targaryens, even though they are dragonless. 50 years on from the dragons, people are starting to ask the question, well, why are we still letting them be in power? And Parker says that's part of why he thinks the Targaryens were even in attendance at this tourney, which really they could have skipped if they wanted to. George R.R. Martin has been very praiseworthy of this new spin-off, and that's not always been the case with other spin-offs. So I'm encouraged by that. I've got a good feeling. And I thought this was really interesting. Ira Parker said making this particular show forced him to reflect on what fans of Game of Thrones liked about the previous series. He says, is it the dead coming to kill mankind? Is it the dragons? Is it the politics? Is it the big roving POVs? Warring families? Was it the opening title sequence? He says deciding not to have an opening titles sequence itself was the most stressful decision he made on this. It was not entered into lightly, but it serves our show. And the article ends like this, and I think it's very poignant. This isn't a sprawling fantasy epic. There's no palace intrigue. As Ira Parker says, we have one character, Dunk, and a lot of heart. Now, I'm very excited for this. I mean, you guys, of course I'm not going to miss this. I'm going to be tuning in every single week. I'm going to be there. It shouldn't be too long till we get an official premiere date. What I would say about this spin-off, just to sum everything up, I would say it's a place that we are familiar with. It's a land we know. It's names we know. But we're going to be looking at it through a totally different perspective. And there's something about Dunk and Egg, these three little novellas, that are very heartwarming. It's like the story is distilled down into the basic essence of humanity. Like, this is what it's all about. It's not about being a dragon rider. It's not about being a great warrior. It's not about all of these big achievements that we know are celebrated in this world. It's actually thinking about, well, how can you be a good person? And as Ira Parker says, start from the ground up, just putting one foot in front of the other. You're not trampling on other people. It's not dog eat dog. You're just trying to survive and be a decent person in the process. And you're having to struggle and to navigate and work your way through. And that's life. And I think that's why this show will resonate a lot with people in a different way to Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon.